Joining us on the line now is Sheffield United manager Paul Heckingbottom. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations yesterday. That was incredible. What was it like for you?
Yeah, well done, Paul.
Thanks, lad.
Morning.
Cheers, Dino. Yeah, good morning, you too. Yeah, it was. I think you've summed it up well there. For anyone who was at the stadium in particular or watching it at home on TV, saw a really, really amazing game, and both teams played the part in it, I think.
I loved from the very start of the game, it felt so open, and we were discussing it in the studio actually, and Joby McAuliffe was saying, like, in the past actually it's been a bit more edgy, and this was an FA Cup quarter-final. It was just such an enjoyable game to watch. One moment which I thoroughly enjoyed, Ollie McBurney, the equaliser at 2-2, you were just about to sub him off, right?
Well, you'll never know that, will you? You'll never know. No one will ever know that. Now, we'd got to the stage, I think it was about 15 minutes left, and we'd got virtually all the attacking players on the pitch, and young Jebbo was the only one, Daniel Jebberson was the only one still on the bench, and you've got to try and do something at that stage. So I think Jebbo, we had him stood there so long because I was just concerned sometimes you throw that many attacking players on that you lose all shape, and it actually becomes, counterproductive, and you end up throwing the game away. So it was just a case of being really clear on what we'd do if we did put him on along with all the other attackers. But yeah, Ollie may have seen that and decided to pull his finger out and get the equaliser.
Paul, you're doing great in the Championship as well, and I mean, I've followed your career. You started at Barnsley, I think, and you went to Leeds, and then you went to Scotland for a bit. Have you changed your approach to managing in the Championship? Because I've done it myself, and it's like 3 games a week, and it's tough. You have to get the players up.
It's been unreal, and particularly this season with the World Cup breaks, it meant by the time of mid-November, when we'd usually have played 16 Championship games, we'd actually played 21. Then we had a break for the 4 weeks, and then again. So it's been 2 games a week every week. So yeah, and listen, there's a thing with the physical fatigue, but I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Dean. The biggest one for me is that mental fatigue, where every 3 days you have to be at your best, you have to perform, and that becomes draining as well. And I think that's where the squad becomes really important. So yeah, I've certainly seen that this season, and we're one of a number of clubs in the Championship who's suffered a lot of injuries off the back of the schedule as well.
Yeah, I've always thought there's a dilemma when you manage in that league, Paul. You either go for like Premier League quality and someone who's going to step up and rip it up, or you go for a Championship minded player who self motivates himself 3 times a week. What have you done?
Well, we've basically, the squad is the one that I took over 18 months ago, whatever it was. So we've got a lot of experienced boys who have done really well in this league before and done well in the Premier League, and we're sort of wrongly as well written off 18 months or so ago. They're too old, they're this, they're that. But I think that they've shown everyone they really have responded well, and then we've added some young players in that with the loan boys. So yeah, the squad was pretty much set. So I think it's a good blend of experience who've been here, seen it, done it, know what the Championship's all about, and then a lot of young players with a real freshness about them who are learning on the job, if you like, and it's been a good mix.
A couple of those loanees that you're talking about, Manchester City duo, you've got Tommy Doyle, scored the winner yesterday, James McAtee as well. So they are going to be cup tied for that trip to Wembley in the semi-final against Manchester City, and I imagine you're thinking it's going to be hard enough playing them, and now without those two, what have you got in mind?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we'll have a conversation. Listen, the Manchester City's players, and we know the cup tab, but for them 2 players, I think I need to ask the question and see if we could somehow get them involved. But I understand that, and they do. So when we were watching the draw after the game yesterday, it was the one we didn't want, mainly for that reason. Obviously, you know how tough it is playing City at the best of times. However, for those boys, we wanted them involved in this because they've been a big part of what we've done in the league and in the cup. So yeah, it's not the draw that we wanted for those boys, and it's certainly not the draw that those boys wanted themselves.
Paul, we were having this conversation, me and Dean earlier on, actually, about how that conversation might go in Manchester City and whether or not they actually would say, yeah, we'll let them play. It must be a really difficult one to approach. Or is it quite simple? You should just go and say, look, we want them to play, will you let them?
Yeah, I think everyone knows that the benefits of them playing. It's the reason they've been sent out on loan. And like I said, I know that they're really pleased with the progression. The boys are themselves, the families, the representatives, and Manchester City. So they're really pleased with what they're doing. And it would be an amazing part of that journey for them and continue their education. However, it's against that club and the parent club, and it has been done before. We've seen it happen before. So yeah, we'll ask the question and we'll see what comes back.
Paul, sorry, Dino, I know you're taking a sharp inhalation of breath. I wanted to ask you, Paul, a bit because your job that you've done since you came in, so 17th in the Championship, I believe you were, Sheffield United, when you took over. You've been to Wembley with them. You're now going to go to Wembley again in semi-final. You're in such a great position as well, second in the Championship table. It's just such a brilliant job, and I haven't been to Bramall Lane for a little while, actually, a couple of seasons, and I just thought it was amazing there yesterday. There's something that you're really getting out of the team and also the fan base as well. What's that personal journey been like for you?
Yeah, listen, it's been great. It's it obviously took over at difficult circumstances in the Premier League when Chris left, and then went back to work with the younger players after that. But in that difficult moment, Dino will tell you, when you're managing players, you do get an attachment to them, and you feel responsible for them. So when I did get the opportunity then to go back and work with them, it was an easy decision. It was a no-brainer really, and I was looking forward to working with the players. So yeah, I think being involved in the club beforehand really helped me. And then since that moment, I think just trying to reconnect the players with the fans and try and play that style of football that you saw yesterday, where if we get beat playing that way, we get beat, but we want to entertain, and I want to be stood on the sideline watching a team give the best and just trying to win every game.
Paul, it's getting nerve-wracking now. I mean, you got Norwich in the next game. You could do without Michael Carrick breathing down your neck, come in with a run, Middlesbrough. But
yeah.
On to the next game now in the league. How are you going to approach that game against Norwich? The same as usual, or you got different tactics for different games?
No, the same. We do tend to tweak it slightly, but in terms of the intent, we want to play the same way all the time. I think the entertaining thing about the Championship and the reason why it's so enthralling is there's so many different styles of play and the way the game's refereed that it's the toughest league ever. The margins are so fine. So we just focus on ourselves. We'll try and play our style of football against Norwich, who again have got big players. Players who were in the Premier League last season, but as you say, we need the win. We're going to go for the win because it's all about the 3 points now in the remaining 9 games that we've got.
Excellent. Paul, we'll let you go. Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem.
Pleased to see you doing so well.
Take care.
Thanks, Dino. See you later.
Bye-bye. See you later.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.